What's poppin', y'all? I did not think Aiden Ross would give this man credit for saving Kick, the streaming platform.
Work. But it's, I can give my flowers to me, but Liko, I'm gonna be honest, bro. There was a time Kick wasn't gonna work, and Bruce saved Kick, and I remember having that call with Eddie, and we were just like, yo, like Aiden, like you gotta get Bruce, and I flew Bruce out to Miami, went to that courtside game, and I was like, yo, just do it. He did it. He came, then X came, then it was over. Like, oh, that was it. So Bruce really helped save Kick. XQC save Kick, Fuzi save Kick, Neon save Kick. So many factors. I don't know what you guys are saying, Cab. I'm dead serious. Kick was not working. It wasn't working. No, I didn't buy Bruce. Bruce got a bag, man. What? Bruce got one of the highest paying Kick deals of all time. But it's deserved. He saved it. He saved the platform. Los Polos. So
Bruce drop him off was touted as one of the worst decisions by Kick by a lot of people, because he was one of the last people to get a deal, and he was one of the people that got a really big deal that was they made it look even bigger on social media, saying like, oh, this guy got a $50 million deal. If you guys remember that era where every page would talk about, oh, this person got a $150 million deal, just disgusting numbers being thrown out. And a lot of people, including Aiden Ross, had previously said that, Bruce kind of, he just phoned it in towards the end of his Kick deal. But if you guys are unfamiliar, Kick deals stopped in 2024, I would say. Most of them stopped end of 2023, but 2024 towards the end, it was donezo. Like, there were no more Kick deals. And now they've moved more towards like this Kick partner program thing, that like hourly rate that they would pay people depending on who or how many active chat users there are, as well as how many active real viewers there are. And one of Aiden Ross's close homies, Cheezer, who recently raged at his community, and now they've turned detractors on him for the jokes that they made about, or for setting him up with the cartel. He had this to say when Bruce dropped him off, went back to Twitch after his Kick deal was over and when he was making his comeback.
That's the thing, Eddie, real quick. That's why you don't do business with black people. And this is no offense to any black people in my chat at all. I respect y'all in a way too, because I low-key, like, I see what you do. He used you for money, Eddie. He didn't want to ever work with you long-term. He got what he wanted out of you. Which, listen, it's in their culture. I respect their culture. Everybody has different cultures. Like, white people, we do our own things. Indians do their own things. Black people have their culture. It's not no racy shit either. Bruce did what he had to do, bro. And he got the bag out of you. But, Eddie, what about me?
This was wild from Cheezer, but it should make no surprise for anybody that when this guy's moving like this and he's talking like this, that his community are even crazier, so much so that they've got him not hiding, but they've got him stressing out over them. And there was a point in time where people assumed that when Eddie was talking about Kick deals that he was talking about Bruce. They assumed that.
I'll be honest, like, some large streamers are actually no longer good streamers. I'll be the first to admit it. There are some really big streamers who nowadays make content. It's boring. It's not old. They're not even adapting. But there's some small ones making.
I don't think that Eddie was talking about Bruce here, because Bruce's content on Kick, it didn't really change too much. Like, Bruce, and to give some context, Bruce in 2022, he won like TwitchCon. He won an award at TwitchCon. So Bruce in 2022 was huge. And it's really heartwarming for me to see, because I know on my Twitch account, my Twitch account where I've had for like 10 years, I've been following Bruce at least for like 8 years. So it's kind of been crazy to see Bruce grow up in real time and grow as a streamer from averaging like 70-ish viewers. But during like 2020, 2021, that's where it was a hockey stick up. And in 2022, he really took off. So they signed him at his peak. And not only that, they signed him, and like Aiden Ross said, that allowed for them to get people like an XQC, which really just set everything nuclear, because now there was a community that was forming in Kick, and that was something that a platform like Mixer didn't really have. Like, Mixer, they signed, I think it was Shroud. First it was Ninja, and then it was Shroud, and their assumption was that, oh, we'll just sign the biggest person and then we'll just get a bunch of people like that. And that's not how streaming works. The benefit for Kick is that not only is Eddie like a stream viewer and he has a ton of money, they move a lot faster. And Trainwrecks, who is one of the co-founders of Kick, he's been a streamer himself, and he understands all of the problems with Twitch that he aided Kick with. So recently, Eddie, who's the founder of Kick, he was doing an interview with Mizkif, who was a huge Twitch streamer who has now moved to Kick full time. Part of the reason why I believe he moved to Kick, and he's not dual streaming, I don't think he's dual streaming from what I've seen, is because a lot of the community that Mizkif built was primarily on Twitch, and it was primarily a bunch of people that do not mess with them anymore. So a lot of it was collaboration. So he's like, yo, I'm not going to be able to collaborate with these guys. I'm going to get a lot of hate on Twitch. Like, my viewership is down. Let me just go to Kick, where I can cultivate a newer community, and the people that already mess with me are going to watch me here anyway. So that's why I believe Mizkif moved over to Kick. But in this clip, they talk about things that may or may not change. And one of those that they tried to use to entice people was the 95-5 split.
Let me ask you a question. Are you guys ever going to change the 95-5 split?
No, never. They're staying there forever. It's like put it this way: if like an accounting firm came to Kick and was like, okay, how do we make this more profitable? The first thing they'd see, oh, there's a bunch of revenue that comes through subs, and then they see, oh, there's a whole bunch of like money going out, and the first thing they'd say is like, take a percentage of that. But like, the reality is that's not really like revenue. That's not revenue. Kick isn't making that money. The creators are making that money. That's not our money that we get to book as revenue. Like in a perfect world, that money should just go straight from the viewer to the streamer. Like, Kick shouldn't even see the money. It's like, you are receiving a gift. You are receiving a donation. Like, the fact that that even goes through Kick's system is like weird. It's just like making it more seamless. So that's not even our money to touch. Like, we can't look at that as revenue or look at that as an opportunity to make money, because it's not our money. That is a donation from your viewers to the streamer, and the platform isn't helping to facilitate that donation. That's you. So no, we're never going to touch 95.5. I think people sleep on that 95.5 as well. Like, it makes a massive difference. Like, it's crazy to think like how many like millions of dollars are transferred over. Like, even YouTube takes like a pretty high cut. Like, how much many millions of dollars are transferred as donations, and then that just gets taken by the platforms. Like, that it upsets me actually. It kind of makes me angry, because that's like a donation. Like, it's the same way you don't like fucking take a waiter's tip and like charge it as a fee on the restaurant. But anyway, I don't know. That 95.5, the 5% is used to cover the payment service provider fees. Like, we use Stripe, and like we have to like send the money to you and all that kind of stuff that costs money. So the 5%, like, we don't even make 5%. Like, the 5% just covers the costs. Basically, we're giving you all the money that's left over, and we're going to keep it that way. Like, Kick was founded on that, and that's never changing.
This is something that Kick deserves a lot more credit for. I think that it didn't help them too much in getting more viewers onto their platform, or more people using their platform, because the majority of subscribers came from Twitch Prime for most streamers, which the majority of Americans that watch streams, they had a Twitch Prime account, or they had an Amazon Prime subscription, or their parents had an Amazon Prime subscription. So it didn't cost them anything. And yes, the platform would take a piece of that, and they would also, and this is before gifted subs were a thing too. That's relatively new as well. And I think gifted subs were just used so that Twitch could make more money, not necessarily for the streamer. But yeah, it would be a 50-50 split, but most people were just used to, or I think it was, some people had 60-40 and some people had 70-30, depending on how big of a streamer you were, what type of Twitch partner contract you negotiated. So this was a good move initially. And like, YouTube is an example of a platform like that too, where I believe they take a cut of memberships, they take a cut of super chats, which is crazy because super chats are intended to be a direct payment from the viewer to the creator. Yet YouTube has to take a piece of that, which is wild. And at a time, like for the most of the 2010s, streamers made the majority of their money from donations and from subscriptions, which was largely driven by Twitch Prime. The whole like ads thing, the whole gifted subs were not a thing. So that was gone. The whole ads money that people are making now, that was not a thing for the majority of Twitch. And donations were like this innovation that I believe it was Rekful, who has passed away a while back. I think he was the first one that I can recall that made the system for the donation to happen. And a lot of Twitch viewers and streamers, they were used to donating via another link. So there would be a link to donate that wasn't directly through Twitch, and they could appear on stream. I think it was, and that became where a lot of streamers made their income, including an individual we're going to talk about in a little bit. So they would incentivize it in different ways, whether it was text to speech, things like that. YouTube, on the other hand, a lot of people, and this is why like streaming is different based on different platforms, the YouTube viewer, they are not accustomed to having to go to a different platform or a different link to send a donation. Like there's like, oh, this thing is native to the platform, let me just use it like that. And that's something that Twitch cultivated as a streamer audience, but it came from the streamers. It wasn't Twitch that implemented this, because if it were up to them, they'd take a cut. So a lot of people were like, okay, let me support the Twitch streamer. I won't even sub, or if I'm going to sub, I'm going to sub with Prime, but I'll donate to the streamer because I'm going to be able to support them directly. So I do think that was good, but it's just they're never going to get that many subscriptions on Kick because gifted subs are a thing there, but most people are just not used to paying for a subscription, and that's really that. However, they do get into this interesting part of the conversation where they're talking about where they see Twitch in 10 years.
Let me ask you a question. Where do you think in 10 years, do you think that Kick will be bigger than Twitch?
I don't know, man. I'd be surprised personally if Twitch was still around in 10 years. I don't know whether it will be, but if it is, like, I hope it is, because it'd be good for live streaming. But I don't know. As long as Kick continues to grow, I'm not. I've said this before, right? A couple of times on my streams. Like, I don't think it's really so much like one has to win, one has to lose. I kind of thought that at the beginning. It was almost like this like competition, but I think that mindset's changed. Like nowadays, as long as everything's healthy, as long as things are growing, as long as there's like, you know, a really active community and good like set of streamers on Kick, like who cares what's going on other platforms? I think the biggest thing that scares me is honestly is like the fall of long form streaming. Like I'm more worried that people are just going to keep moving to TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram, whatever, right? Like I think it's more like, how do we like protect live streaming in general? I don't think it's about fighting amongst like streaming platforms. Like we need to innovate and do something to protect the viewership, because it is going down.
Yeah.
Like if you look over the last like 3-4 years, it's just going down like this. It'll probably speed up soon. Everyone's attention spans, everyone talks about this, right? It's going down. We're fighting for attention. So that's my bigger concern, to be honest with you. When I think like 10 years from now, is like, do people still want to watch live streams in 10 years? And I really hope so.
Yeah,
anything we can do to help that.
This is very, very, very interesting, especially coming from Eddie himself, who is a competitor, and Kick does not get enough credit for what they've been able to do. Like these guys have made YouTube and Twitch pick up their slack, because Twitch for the longest, like you know how you see all of these streams where it's like, yo, the NBA and Phantom is with RDC and they're commentating on the NBA game, or like Tim the Tatman's doing something with NFL. That came a couple of years ago, but this type of stuff that you see right now was foreign. Like Twitch would not even tell you why you were banned. Twitch was not facilitating any deals for you. Bounties became a thing maybe in 2019, 2020. Bounties are when streamers in their back end, they have like a bunch of different promotions that they can just elect for. So let's say Marvel Rivals, right? Like they're trying to promote something new in the game. A streamer has a bounty on their dashboard where it's like, hey, you play Marvel Rivals for an hour and you make like $800. It scales depending on the streamer and if they're a partner. That wasn't a thing for the longest. So Twitch has become very, very active in working with their streamers and platforming them and showing support to them. This was, even when Ninja was the top dog, this wasn't a thing. So I believe that Kick and how quick they are with their support, telling people why they got banned, and YouTube is like focusing a little bit more on live streaming now. They tried to do the same method of signing a bunch of people to deals. Like they signed Valkyrie to a deal, they signed Myth to a deal, and they lost a ton of money on certain people that they signed to deals. But YouTube now, they've like implemented the vertical format of live streaming, and to maybe calm Eddie down a little bit from his potential anxiousness on live streaming not being as popular. Yeah, people are addicted to short form, but I think I'm a great case study as a native like live stream viewer. I've paid attention to live streams for a very long time. Clips, I think, would be the biggest thing to harm streamers, to be honest, but I don't think clips are as effective in driving live streamer growth as they were prior to like the clipping meta, because back then if you got clipped a bunch, you would grow. Like you even think Jinxie, Queso, like these people grew from clips. But that's not, I think some people still do grow, but like let's take a look at Neon, right? Like how many viewers does this guy really have? Not very much. But I don't think live stream viewers are just going to scroll through short form. Like I've tried it a lot to consistently scroll through short form, whether it be IG Reels, whether it be TikTok, whether it be YouTube. YouTube Shorts is probably the one I've scrolled through least. And the only reason, and I have to make it kind of like homework or like a work session for an hour to scroll through TikTok just to see what's culturally relevant, particularly in music, see what sounds are going on, just so I can stay tapped in. But as for enjoyment, no, I don't enjoy scrolling that stuff. When people are DMing me IG Reels, I'm not opening that stuff. Like I got personal friends that send me texts of a bunch of slop reels. I'm like, dude, I've never opened one of these. I will never open them. But they just, I understand that a lot of people enjoy that stuff, and I understand why it's enjoyable, because this stuff is addictive. Like it's just a roulette, and you're like, oh, this is a new piece of content. But for me, it's just not enjoyable. So I think the live stream viewership base will always be there. Will it be the most viewed thing? I don't know. I don't think so. And the way that Kick has been competing lately is with the whole KPP program, which like an OG IRL streamer who's now on Kick, Ice Poseidon, and how much he's earning.
2 of these streams were 30. One was 30 minutes on Machu Picchu, and the other was 7 minutes wall tent. So really, it's 12 streams, 138K. I mean, pretty good KPP, bro. That's very good KPP. I mean, if I stream every day, 30 days, that's 300K a month in KPP, which is ridiculous.
So if you guys have seen this, probably the first time you saw this was with Asmongold. He was the first one to really show it, and Sneeko even has now hopped on Kick. I think this was the smartest thing Kick did, but like I said about the Kick deals, like I said about every single thing that has happened with Kick, enjoy this while it lasts, because this will end. This will come to an end. What is Kick's strategy here? If you guys realize, Kick, first they remove the exclusive. Like, oh, you have to exclusively stream to Kick with a deal. They got that out the way. And they're like, yeah, dude, you can just, you can dual stream, because they want more streamers on their platform. Because the problem that happened is you had a Neon, you had an Aiden Ross, you had a couple of different people that came in with their deals, XQC. But the problem is a lot of these people didn't have a community on there. So when they were offline, the person that's watching, they're like, okay, I guess I'm off the platform. They couldn't keep them on the platform because most people were there for maybe 1 or 2 streamers. So they needed more streamers on the platform, on Kick that is. And with this incentive of, hey, look, you can cross stream here for free. It's not a problem. Twitch also removed that rule. If you were a Twitch partner, you were not allowed to stream anywhere else. So they've lifted that, and I think it was from Kick. But they're like, yo, you could just stream here if you want. And what they tell you is, well, you can earn a guaranteed hourly rate if you stream here, but you only have to be streaming here. So that incentivizes people to stream first on whatever platform they have maybe the most following. And then they're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Kick right now. And then that will drive more viewers to Kick. Like, for example, somebody like Sneeko, who didn't take a Kick deal because it was like gambling related, and he would continuously talk about Kick's a gambling platform bad. He's gone on Kick, which it's still a gambling platform, but he realized, and he's shown that he doesn't bot, number one, but also he's shown how much he's earned on there. And I'm not saying this to knock him going to Kick. I think he should have gone to Kick whenever, not taking the gambling deal. Obviously that's against his values, but that brought a lot of different people, and they're earning a lot. And I think by the time, if they're able to get ads, which I think will come eventually because they're cleaning up their reputation, then the whole KPP thing is deaded, because now they've got an avenue to generate revenue for the platform Kick, because they're just shelling out money right now. And it makes more sense for them to shell out money now and spread it across and build a community of streamers on Kick that have their audiences primarily on Kick, because then they're really not going to go anywhere else. Because there are streamers that are being built up right now that they're like, damn. And also, this is where Kick moves faster than Twitch or YouTube, is that Kick incentivizes it where they're like, yo, we'll have clippers for you. So they're paying clippers and they're paying streamers a certain rate. So there's this incentive of, okay, now we have like Larry Wheels, for instance. He hops on Kick. A bunch of people are clipping his stuff. Clavicular, for instance. He's won a lot via Kick. He wouldn't have grown this much on Twitch. Not just because, of course, he couldn't do the content that he does on Kick, which is like say crazy stuff and, admit to doing certain substances. But the clipping that Kick offered him, he wouldn't be able to finance it, especially not early on when he was blowing up a couple of months ago. And Aiden Ross saying this after being somebody that has stayed loyal to Kick despite switching to a completely different betting platform. Him saying that Bruce drop him off was there and that Kick wasn't going to work out is a very, very big deal. And I think Bruce drop him off deserves a lot of credit for this because this is coming from Aiden, who was somebody that I guess he got screwed out of his equity in Kick because that guy really helped build Kick. But for him to say that, Bruce deserves way more credit. I think that enough would put him in the Mount Rushmore of streaming because Kick as a platform is great for the competition. Like these other platforms were just lazy. They were doing nothing. And Rumble was never going to compete. It's just a niche political platform. That's all it really ever was. They attempted to be something else, and I think the attempt was incorrect. They should have just leaned more. Like, look at the Daily Wire, right? Like, that's a production company publication. They're not trying to appeal to everybody. They've got that circle and they're just focusing on that circle. So this is really impressive and it's cool to hear because Aiden Ross and Bruce have had their back and forths. I don't think there was ever any real animosity between them. Well, I just hope Kick continues to do well and it forces YouTube and Twitch to keep upping their game and supporting the people on their platform, because when there's just one platform that dominates, that creators can earn from, the platform starts to suck, they get lazy, and you have the creators, they don't have any option to go anywhere else. So they're kind of stuck there, and it's just all around bad for the people making the content and for the people consuming it. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see y'all in the next one.